Housekeeping. Good afternoon, everyone. I know it's been a while since I've seen almost all of you, but it's good to be back. Good to resume the daily press briefing. Let me start with this. Many of us here at the department and across the government, and millions of Americans and Afghans alike, are mindful of today's meaning as the 20-year-long U.S. military mission in Afghanistan ended nearly 1 year ago. Ending the longest war in American history was never going to be easy. But 1 year later, we are in a stronger position as a country because of the president's decision, better able to focus on the threats and challenges, but also the opportunities of today. As the Secretary has said, the end of our military mission in Afghanistan does not mean the end of our diplomatic and humanitarian mission. For more than 2 decades, the men and women of the State Department have served courageously and passionately to help deliver a better future for the people of Afghanistan. Our diplomats did their duty in dangerous conditions during those 2 decades, with some paying the ultimate price in service to their country and to that mission. They served through the withdrawal, facilitating the evacuation of over 120,000 people a year ago. They have continued to work tirelessly ever since. In the last year, the United States has gone to extraordinary lengths to keep the American people safe from terrorist attacks, as we demonstrated most recently during the strike against al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri, to stand by our Afghan allies and their families by resettling tens of thousands of them here in the United States, demonstrating the very best of the American people's generosity, and will continue to welcome our Afghan allies over the weeks and months ahead. We'll also keep supporting the Afghan people during the dire economic times as the largest donor of humanitarian aid to the people of Afghanistan. We have demonstrated that we're able to fulfill our enduring commitments to the Afghan people using the various diplomatic tools at our disposal and with exceptional help from our partners like Qatar, the UAE, and our European allies and others. We are grateful for that support. And of course, the international community will continue to expect that the Taliban meet the commitments they have made to the Afghan people in key areas. We are doing all of this as we continue to urgently seek the release of Mark Frerichs. We can take on all of these challenges without putting our service members at risk in an open-ended military commitment. The same is true for our partners, including NATO, which is now more purposeful than ever in the face of Russian aggression against Ukraine. As a result, we are able to focus our resources to face new global challenges, confronting Russian aggression, managing the competition with the PRC, addressing shared challenges like COVID-19 and climate change, and seizing opportunities in the Indo-Pacific, among other regions. For the first time in nearly 20 years, our forces are not in harm's way in Afghanistan, and we are fully focused on the challenges and opportunities that define the 21st century. With that.
Okay, thanks, Ned. Welcome back. I do have a couple on Afghanistan, but I'll go to those after other people ask about it. I'm sure they will. I want to start with Iran.
Sure.
I know that you haven't seen the Iranian response yet no one has, at least unless it's come out in the last 5 minutes, to the EU text. But the foreign minister gave a pretty detailed presentation of what we can expect to see in it. One of the things he said is that the Iranians want a guarantee that on transition day, which according to the JCPOA would be next November, like 2023, that all of the statutory sanctions will be lifted. That would require congressional action. Is the administration in any kind of a position to be able to offer to make such a promise that those sanctions will be lifted? Because the administration that signed the JCPOA in the first place wasn't in a position to make that promise and said only that it would seek the repeal of those sanctions.
So Matt, let me start out by saying that when it comes to the Iranian response, I'd refer you to the EU. When it comes to a response from the EU, I'd refer you to the EU. When it comes to the United States, as we've said before, we will share our views on the text proposed by the High Representative directly with him. We will do that privately. We do agree, however, with his fundamental point, and that is that what could be negotiated has been negotiated. And that is why the High Representative took it upon himself to propose a text that is substantially based on the March proposal that has been in play for some time. Let me also take a step back and answer your question this way. President Biden, for our part and for his part, has provided clear instructions to the team. We will not allow Iran to acquire a nuclear weapon. We will use all tools available to deter, to contain, and otherwise counter dangerous Iranian activities in the region, and in some cases, well beyond, not the least of which, as we've all been discussing in recent days, is the plotting against former U.S. officials and other potential threats to American citizens. We continue to believe that diplomacy is by far the best, the most effective means by which to constrain verifiably and permanently Iran's nuclear program, and we've taken a principled and very deliberate approach over the course of the past 15 or 16 months or so with the remaining JCPOA participants. If Iran is prepared for a mutual return to compliance with the JCPOA, so are we.